So let's go to page 50. You don't need to know when or how you went from loving yourself as a little kid to criticizing yourself as a teenager, a young adult, or an adult. If you want to unpack where all of this negative thought and all of these negative beliefs that you have about yourself started, give yourself the gift of working with a therapist. In our daughter's case, remember, chapter 4 started with a text that one of our daughters sent us. How do I not feel like the ugliest girl at the bar every time I go out? And with her permission, she let me share that text in the book. In our daughter's case, I asked her and I said, when did you start thinking that you're the ugliest person in the bar or around your friends? And she said, I don't know when it began because I don't ever remember not feeling that way about myself and my body. And here's something really profound and honest that she shared. She said, the truth is, Mom, I know I'm not that ugly. I'm just the biggest one of all my friends, and I hate it. How many of you can relate to that? I'm just the X of all my friends. I'm the biggest. I'm the least successful. I'm the lightest. I'm the darkest. I'm the tallest. I'm the shortest. I have the least money. That there's some way that you are identifying yourself in relation to other people that makes you feel less than. And that's what I see in the mirror. I'm bigger than I want to be, and it makes me feel horrible about myself. And then she said, I wish I didn't think about it all the time, but I don't know how to stop. God, I can so relate to that. I wish I didn't think I'm a bad person all the time. I wish I didn't think I screw up all the time. I wish I didn't think I'm not good enough all the time. I wish I didn't think I was the biggest or the tallest or the shortest all the time, but I don't know how to stop. It's so honest. It's so relatable, isn't it? And as we talked about it further, it was clear you can't hate your body and accept and love yourself at the same time. You can't do that. You are a whole person. Hating parts of yourself means you're not accepting and loving yourself as you are. When you look in the mirror and you focus on what you need to fix, it's the opposite of a high five. This is a habit of self-rejection. And by the way, I know you know this, but our daughter's not alone on not liking how she looks. According to our research, more than 50% of men and women will not look at themselves in the mirror. Like they are disgusted by what they see. They are so used to rejecting what they see, they won't even look in the mirror. 91% of women are unhappy with their bodies. And of course, the media and the images that you and I see just bombard us with, this unrealistic crap, and that doesn't help. And when you constantly wish that you looked different, how many of you wish you looked different? Be honest. Put a little hand in the comments if you wish you looked different. This is so pervasive, this self-rejection. Wishing you looked different is a habit of rejecting who you are, where you are, and what you look like. And it's so sad because there will never, ever, 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 ever be another you. There's never been somebody like you on the planet. There will never be another one of you. And here you are, just like everybody else, looking in the mirror and wishing you looked different. It's one thing to kind of say, I got to take better care of myself. It's another thing to wish you were a different person. In order to break this habit of self-rejection, we are going to start with something that is low, not going to even go for self-love. That will come with time. We got to come with self-acceptance. We got to come with self-compassion. We got to come to the table with a little bit more self-respect. We got to come and start to build a little bit more self-worth. If this is something that you can relate to, and every human being relates to this, because I think every single one of us, it's only gotten worse with the amount of marketing and social media imagery bombarding you and kind of tweaking you to think that you need a particular lotion or a particular lipstick or a particular type of pants, or you got to be a particular size or a particular shape in order to be acceptable or desired. And what I'm here to tell you is the high five habit is about learning how to break that desire to be somebody else and learning how to accept at the beginning and respect and be compassionate and to start to feel worthy as you are. And with that as your foundation, my God, you can go and do and be anything you want to be when you come from a place of acceptance, support, respect, worth, and validation for exactly where you are and exactly where you're not. Isn't this cool? So, and here's the other reason why you need to do this. When you constantly wish you look different, or you see a world reflected back in a way that makes you feel like you don't belong, your entire existence is going to feel like there's something wrong with you. And there are three main reasons why I need you to change this. We're on page 50, everybody who's reading along. And for those of you just joining, I'm Mel Robbins, and this is the High Five Habit. This is a New York Times best-selling book. We're on week 2 of the New York Times. It was the number 2 selling book on Amazon when it came out 2 weeks ago for a week straight. You've made it the number 1 selling audiobook of the entire month. It's just extraordinary. And this book is changing people's lives by changing how they treat themselves. Here's why you got to change your mind. We're on page 50 if you want to read along. And please, if this is inspiring you, if you're like, wow, I needed to hear this today, get a copy. Literally, go online, get yourself a copy. You need this book. This is exactly the book that the world needs right now. There are 3 reasons why you have to stop beating yourself up, and you must learn how to love yourself and empower yourself. Number 1, when you focus on what's wrong, you're never going to change. Because with the attitude that something's wrong, every change that you're trying to make is a reminder that you need fixing. And the attitude that there's something wrong makes everything feel harder. How many of you have literally yo-yo dieted, started and stopped exercising programs, constantly stopping, starting, struggling with motivation? I'm going to tell you the reason why that's the case, everybody, is because when you feel like there's something wrong, changing is punishment. This is why diets don't work, because exercise plans and diets feel like punishment. Being on a diet only reinforces the feeling that there's something wrong with you, so you need to be on a diet, and that you're not okay or lovable or fantastic as you are. Diets work when you feel empowered to be healthier because you believe you deserve to be healthier, not because there's something to fix or that there's something wrong with you, but because of your self-worth and self-respect, that you're like, wow, I deserve to actually feel a little bit better. So I'm going to make some choices that make me feel better in terms of what I put in my body. One of the things that I wanted to teach you tonight is this attitude that I have. So I have cultivated what I call a high five attitude. And what that is it's the ability to catch yourself when you go mentally low. You know what it feels like when you go mentally low. You start to get negative. You start to feel discouraged. You start to get angry. You feel frustrated. You feel hopeless. You feel alone. You feel like life is out to get you. It can be triggered when you feel jealous, when you feel insecure, when you start people pleasing, when you feel like you've worked hard and you're not getting rewarded for it. You can feel mentally low when somebody stabbed you in the back, when somebody ignores you, when you don't get invited. There's like a bazillion ways that life can make you or trigger you to go mentally low, right? So I'm human. When I find out that these big box retailers are not going to carry my book, I of course feel rejected. I have this story that I'm like the bad news bears. I'm rolling in without the nice equipment, without the right friend group. Well, I have amazing friends. That's not a trash of my friends, but I've got this stupid story that I'm always on the outside looking in. Do you guys ever feel that way? That you're never just quite walking through the front door anywhere? That you got to sneak in the back? That you got to like make sure that somehow you get people to pay attention, that you don't quite belong. Well, I have that story too. It's dumb, I know, whatever, but it's my story. So when something like this happens, I can take it personally. And I started to go literally down. Like, woe is me. Oh my God, all this work. No one's going to read the book. This is going to be a huge failure. Why is it always so hard? Why is it that, I get rejected? I think I shared with you guys that I had, a couple weeks ago, I had sent all of these videos to all of these big name celebrity podcasts that I really admire. I've been fans of for years. I poured my heart into these pitches. Crickets. So when I hear crickets from podcast hosts, that are the big celebrities, and then I get passed on from the big box retailer like you, I'm like, yikes, what did I do? Aren't I working hard? Why am I not getting the recognition? So here's what I want to tell you. Number one, this moment is preparing you. This moment is preparing you for something that's coming, period. And what I think that this moment is preparing me for, and this is what I want to teach you. I want to teach you something really important in life, particularly in moments when things are pivoting. This moment is preparing me for something amazing that's coming, because I always am successful when I do things my way. I'm always successful when I take the road less traveled. I'm always successful when I find the courage to ignore where everybody else is headed and do something and do things in the way that really calls to me. And that's right. Rejection is redirection. It's true. Whatever you're facing in your life right now, whether it is rejection from a person or rejection of your business plan or rejection of the skincare or the supplement line or the whatever you're trying to sell, or rejection of you telling a good friend of yours that you're actually interested in them romantically, and then you get that awkward silence that there's not. Whatever rejection you're facing, it is a redirection. And you have to hold on to the faith, the hope, the confidence, the courage, and the optimism in knowing that every time that life doesn't give you what you thought you wanted, you always end up somewhere better, period. You have a choice right now. You have a choice to decide how you're going to think about what comes next. And that's where your power is, truly. And so what I've basically said to myself is, this is a blessing. This is a blessing because this is not about mass market for you, Mel. It's about impact with individual people. Stay focused on that. Stay focused. Like you could never buy any of my books at the big box retailers, so why the hell am I worried about it, right? And the other thing is I feel like I want to tell you something else about gatekeepers. So I think gatekeepers are only relevant if you want to get a corporate job, or if you want to go with traditional media, or you want to do things the traditional way. This world is in a major pivot right now. Major pivot. Work is never going to be the same. Technology is advancing at such a rapid pace. Now is an incredible moment to pivot the way that you think. And the only gatekeeper that matters in your life is not the gatekeeper at some job that you want, or the gatekeeper at some TV station or some magazine or some other mass media or some retailer or some traditional retail. The gatekeeper moving forward is the gatekeeper in your mind, period. And what I know is that this world is full of limitless possibilities, limitless, as long as you stay open to those possibilities. That when somebody does reject you or says no or ignores you or passes or reject, like whatever it is, you don't get what you wanted. You have to look at that as a blessing, and you have to look at that as a sign that something else is coming. And it's even better than you could possibly imagine, period. Okay? So I'm sharing this with you in real time. I just got the news from my agent. That's why I'm a little flush, because I was a little upset, felt definitely rejected. Like, Jesus, is any, like at first I get fired from my TV show. Now I can't get a big box retailer to carry my book. I guess I'm still going to do things my way. You know what? Every time I do things my way, it's wildly successful. And every time you do your things your way, you're going to be wildly successful. It takes courage to be yourself. But I'm telling you, putting your spin on things, staying focused on the impact that you want to make, taking everything that happens as just more data and more evidence and more signs and signals that are always pointing you in what's meant for you, that is how you face the ups and downs of life with a high five attitude. Yeah, feel the sting. Because if you don't feel the sting, you're an asshole, or you're numb, or you're narcissistic and you can't feel anything. Seriously, feel the sting of disappointment. And then let those moments when it feels like life is knocking you down, let those moments allow you to regather your strength. Take time to remind yourself of what actually matters to you. And what matters to me is making an impact in your life. And so if this this moment where I'm being passed on, is what spurred me on to jump on a live stream at 11:15 in the morning and talk to you, and there's something about this live stream that actually is of value to you, then that's an incredible reason to get passed on by a retail store, period. Full stop.
But for those who say, okay, I'm going to acknowledge this is negative. I'm not feeling good. I'm feeling a funk. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now, how do they start to shift for those that are ready?
Okay, great. So if you are sick and tired of beating yourself up, if you are sick and tired of focusing on what's not working, if you are sick and tired of the self-doubt and the self-criticism and the self-hatred, this is a game changer. And I only learned this 18 months ago. So despite all of my success, Koya, on the outside, being me was this weird mix of having positive outbursts of energy and enthusiasm in the moment, combined with a deep, relentless, grinding internal voice that was critical, that had a lot of self-hatred, that was constantly making me feel like the world was aimed at me and that I was screwing everything up.
Yeah.
That was my experience. And I think that is the majority of people's experiences. That no matter how good it looks on the outside, the majority of human beings who are adults either can't look at themselves in the mirror, and this was a huge wake-up call in researching the high five habit. 50% of men and women, and this is not a blind, double research, PhD-backed study. This is looking at hundreds of thousands of people that are taking the high five challenge. This is looking at, the millions of people that follow me and the feedback that we're getting. 50% of the people that first try to do this high five habit, which I'll explain in just a second, report that they can't even look at themselves in the mirror. There is so much self-hatred,
right,
or disgust, or judgment. It is so sad. And I am on a mission to wake everybody up and to teach everybody a fundamental, simple habit that unlocks science in your brain and in your nervous system to help you break the habit of self-rejection and self-hatred and self-doubt.
Right.
And that's where the high five habit comes in. And so the high five habit is very simple. First, I'm going to explain it, and then we can kind of unpack it however you think will benefit everybody that's listening. So all you're going to do is you're going to stand in front of the bathroom mirror, and I want this to become part of your morning routine. And there's lots of science around why I want you to do in the morning. We can get to that in a minute. But you're just going to stand in front of your bathroom mirror, And I want you to take a moment and I want you to look at the human being in the mirror. And that right there is a complete change from what you're doing right now. Because what you're doing right now when you stand in front of the mirror and you brush your teeth, or you stand in front of the mirror and you get ready for your day, is you either ignore yourself, you won't even look at yourself. That's a form of self-rejection.
Right.
Or you focus on all the things that you need to fix. Your hair, your makeup, the things you don't like. And so you start your day with a habit in your morning routine of rejecting yourself. And that habit of self-rejection has created the insecurity that you feel.
Yeah.
That habit of self-rejection is what drives your need for validation externally. Yeah. That habit of self-rejection is why you think you're only worthy if somebody else says that you're worthy. And so the high five habit is all about using science to break the habit of self-rejection and replace it with a habit of self-empowerment, self-acceptance, self-compassion, self-love. And here's how you do it. You're just going to stand there. You're going to look at the person in the mirror. And notice I'm not saying reflection.
Right.
There are two people in the bathroom every morning. There's you and there's a human being in the mirror who has been waiting for you to wake up and realize that they're there. They are trying. They are doing their best. They are so beaten down by your relentless criticism. They need you. They need you to see the positive. They need you to compliment them. They need to be kind to them.
Yeah.
And so I want you to take that in for a minute, because you're staring at your soul, at your spirit, at your essence, at your humanity. And most of us have never actually considered that. I hadn't. And then what I want you to do is I want you to just reflect for a second as you look at that human being. What does she or he or they need from me today? Something you've never asked yourself. Because right now, what your morning routine is that you drift into your day and you start thinking about everybody else. What do you need to do for everybody else?
Right.
What's all the things on your to-do list? You have skipped the most important person, and that's the human being in the mirror. And I want you to literally stop and ask yourself, what do she, he, or they need from me? And it might be, I need you to have some freaking fun. I need you to stop being a bitch. I need you to be a little more positive here. I need you to reach out to some people.
Yeah.
And ask for some help. Something will pop in your mind.
Yeah.
And then take a deep breath. And then, as cheesy as it sounds, I want you to raise your hand and I want you to high five that human being in the mirror. And something crazy is going to happen. So this is why this is so revolutionary. Regardless of how weird the high five habit feels, regardless of how much you may resist it, regardless of how kind of corny it is, you will immediately feel your mood shift, because your brain doesn't know the difference between high-fiving somebody else and high-fiving yourself.
That's what I love about it. I love that it's so simple and silly, because we need to play more.
Yes. And so when you give somebody a high five, Koya, what does the high five communicate?
Yes. We got this. You're awesome. Just love.
Yes.
Basically, it communicates love.
It does. You're right. And it communicates a lot of different forms of love.
Yeah.
So it could be a high five that's really encouraging, I see this is hard. You got this.
Yeah.
It could be shake it off. Keep going. It could be I love you. It believe in you. We're together. It's partnership. It's like this massive, wonderful feeling of love. You have never high fived somebody and thought, I hate you. I hope you fail.
Yeah.
You're ugly. You're worthless. You've never done it. And so you can stand before yourself in the bathroom mirror and hate the person you see. Yeah. But the second you physically raise your arm and you do the motion that you've done your whole life, your brain shuts off all thinking and it taps into the programming in your mind that says, I believe in you. I love you. I see you. Keep going. And then you feel this boost in your mind because, and in your mood, every time somebody else is giving you a high five, your brain has released dopamine. That's why high fives feel so good.
Yeah.
The other reason why a high five feels so good is because your nervous system recognizes it as somebody celebrating you. And so you get this affirming life energy that jolts through your body. And so your brain, again, and your nervous system doesn't know the difference between me high-fiving you and me high-fiving myself. So even on my lowest days, Koya, when I high-five myself, I get a dopamine drip.
Yeah.
And I get this nervous system boosting the energy. And that's why it feels so good. We are using programming in you and aiming it back at you so that you have the benefit of belief, of self-love, of positive mental programming, of dopamine, and of a jolt through your nervous system. It's freaking bananas.
That's amazing. Yeah. I love that. I love that it's so simple. I love giving myself a high five. And I love something that you say. You say, and I don't know if this is your quote or something from someone else, but you say, the way you view yourself is the way you view the world.
It's true.
That's powerful.
It's true. Well, let's talk about people pleasing. So many of us struggle with people pleasing. Well, people pleasing for a long time, I thought people pleasing was about like making other people like me. That's what you're doing, but that's actually not the source of people pleasing. People pleasing is not about the need to be liked by other people.
Right.
People pleasing results from you not liking yourself. So people pleasing is about you and your self-hatred and your insecurity.
Wow.
Yes.
That's going to wake a lot of people up.
What did you just get from that?
People pleasing is more about how you feel about yourself than how you feel about others.
Correct. Because here's the thing. If you like yourself, even though you're not where you are, even though if you like yourself, even if you don't like where you are in your life right now, if you can still look in the mirror and see a person who's trying, a person who's worthy of support, a person that you're going to root for, a person that you like, because you deep down know, even though you're way more than you want to, even though you don't have the money you want, even though you're not in a relationship yet, whatever it is that you've been bashing yourself for, if you can look in the mirror and see somebody you genuinely like, because you know deep down they're a good person and they're trying and they've survived a lot and they are a person that's worthy of being liked, because you know who they are at their core. If you can feel that way about yourself and treat yourself that way by giving yourself a high five, that's how you demonstrate that you like yourself. When you go out into the world, if somebody doesn't like you, it does not take away from the fact that you still like yourself.
Right.
If you treat yourself with respect and somebody out in the world disrespects you, that will not change the fact that you still treat yourself with respect.
Right.
The core problem is that most of us look in the mirror and reject the person that we see. And then we bring that insecurity out into the world. And we are looking at lovers and bosses and friends and family to then make us feel secure or make us feel loved, when the root problem is we don't love and like ourselves. And so we got to bring all of that back in house.
Right.
Using the high five habit, you can show yourself, demonstrate to yourself, and practice what a person who likes and loves and respects themselves does, which is they wake up every day and they treat themselves with loving kindness. And the best part for me about the high five habit is you actually don't have to say a word. And in fact, I recommend that for the first 5 days, you don't. Because your self-critic and your brain programming is so negative and relentless, and it's been in there for decades, that I want you to feel the benefit of the science.
Right.
I want you to just stand there and look the human being in the eyes in the mirror. And I want you to raise your hand and notice what you're feeling. You can't help but crack a smile after you do this for a couple days because of the dopamine.
Right.
You can't help but shift how you see yourself because of the nervous system wiring. We've had reports back now from people who have said this really interesting thing. They've said, you know how can you recall a time in your life where you actually remember getting high fives?
Yeah.
When was it? Can you describe it? Put
basketball.
us at the scene. Okay, put us right at the scene.
Oh yeah. So playing basketball, I mean, that is the best place for high fives. High school, I mean, for a whole year I rode the bench. But when I actually started getting rebounds, making points, high five, high five. The more high fives I got, the better I got because it boosted my confidence in myself.
Correct. And, there's a study actually with the NBA that proves this.
Yeah.
So they took a look at NBA teams. Researchers did. I think this was in 2011. There's a massive article in the Wall Street Journal about this, as well as a published academic study. They looked at NBA teams. And do you know you can predict what teams are going to have the winningest record at the end of the season by looking at behavior in the preseason? And the behavior that predicts whether or not an NBA team is going to have a winning season or not is the number of pats on the back, fist bumps, and high fives that a team gives one another in the preseason.
Wow.
Because just as you said, based on your lived, felt experience, playing basketball, being in high school, being on a team, feeling the encouragement, the momentum, the support. High fives aren't gestures. They communicate trust and partnership and belief. So when you high five a teammate, you're communicating, we're in this. I believe in you. Shake off that shot. Even though you're on the bench, you're a valued member of this team. Keep trying, keep going. And the corresponding data about the teams with the worst record was also true. They had the least number of pats on the back and fist bumps and high fives. Why? Well, when every player's in it for themselves, it creates distrust and selfishness.
Right.
And so by high-fiving yourself in the mirror, you can create that same partnership with yourself, and that same momentum starts to get created every single morning when you send yourself into the game of life every day, the way you would send yourself back into the game of basketball after having a team huddle.
I love that. I love that. And it actually brings me to one of the most important pillars of Get Loved Up, which is spirituality. And I kind of want to dive into spirituality with you because I feel like giving that high five is bringing people back into divine alignment with themselves.
Okay, say that again, because that is exactly right.
Bringing people, giving that high five is bringing people back into alignment with themselves, with spirit, with the universe, with God. Because that negative self-talk is taking you out of alignment with love, out of alignment with spirit. And so that one act, because I know you say habits, I say ritual. We have so many different language, but what I feel when I give myself a high five and when I practice that positive self-talk is alignment with spirit.
1,000%. So all of the negative talk, like remember, let's go back to the two human beings in the bathroom, you and the human being in the mirror.
Yeah.
The negative self-talk stands between you two. And when you go to raise your hand and high five yourself, it is a moment of divinity with yourself, with your universe, with the spirit, with God, with whatever you believe in. You will feel that energy if you allow yourself to. You will feel yourself coming home. You will feel yourself stepping back into alignment with who you truly are in your essence, which is a being that is worthy of love, a being that is worthy of support simply because you exist. Like today is my 53rd birthday. And when I think about birthdays, right, what are you actually celebrating?
Right.
You're celebrating life. You're celebrating your breath. You're celebrating the fact that you're still here. And there is something divine about that. And every single morning, if you make the high five habit a ritual that starts your day, you are also bringing the celebration of your life and your existence into your morning. And the thing that I love about this, because, I love gratitude and I love meditation, and these are extraordinary practices that with documented benefit. I'm married to somebody who's a Buddhist meditation instructor and a certified yoga instructor.
I love Chris.
Yeah, Chris is just awesome. And interesting thing about Chris, though, is that here he is practicing every single day. He is a disciplined guy, right? Meditating daily for probably 8 years. Okay. Meditation teaches you self-awareness, and it teaches you how to not react to thoughts. It doesn't change the default opinion that you have about yourself. Gratitude, if you look at what most of us write down when we practice gratitude, it is external. It is rarely something within you. And what I love about the high five habit and why this simple ritual is so divine and spiritual is because it is about reconnection with self. It is and will. What I've experienced after doing this now for over a year is when I step into the bathroom, I don't even need to high five myself. I still do.
Right.
But what's happened over this repetitive ritual of raising my hand in celebration, encouragement, empathy, support, and love to myself every morning, no matter where I am, where I'm waking up, how I feel, just part of how I begin the day, is over time, because of the science, it has reset my mind.
Right.
I don't even see a person I would ever criticize. I don't even see my face. I just see this human being that I love.
That's beautiful. And I think with meditation, with the high five, with these rituals, it gives us the time to come back to center. And people use things in different ways, but it is the opportunity to come back to center, to kind of crowd out the noise.
When researchers study all the things you could do to change your life that make a meaningful impact on the quality of your life, the simple, most important change is making it a habit to be kind to yourself. Researchers at the University of Hertfordshire, I cannot speak, I'm exhausted, I'm sorry, it's been a long 3 weeks, can't pronounce that either, in the UK did a study on things that create happiness and satisfaction. They looked at a whole range of behaviors and habits that you could do to improve your life, from exercising to trying new things, to working on your relationships, to being kind to others, to doing things that bring you a sense of meaning, to working on your goals. You name it, they studied it. That study concluded that the number one predictor of how happy and satisfied you could be, get this, drum roll please, self-acceptance. That's right. Meaning, how kind you are to yourself and how much you cheered for yourself had a direct and proportionate impact on your happiness and fulfillment. I love Marheen tagging her friend and saying, that's why I don't like it when you say bad things about yourself. Yeah, I don't like it when people I love say bad things about themselves either. But here's the thing. You and I can't change what somebody else says to themselves. That's why if you truly love somebody and you can afford it, buy them a copy of this book and just send it to them with a little I love you note. Seriously, it's $16 on Amazon. Send somebody you care about a high five through the mail by sending them this book. It will change their lives because it will teach them how to delete that self-criticism and replace it with a voice that is encouraging and kind. And that's what we all need to do, because being kind to yourself, based on research, everybody, has the power to completely change your life. And yet, here's the funny thing, self-acceptance and kindness, it's what we practice the least. You and I will drink the kale smoothie, we'll go to the gym, we'll get up earlier, we'll cut out gluten and meditate. But the entire time we're doing it, we're beating ourselves up. I didn't meditate long enough. I didn't work out long enough. The kale smoothie, I should have done this sooner. Like, isn't it ironic? Here you are doing all this stuff to try to change your life, and you're beating the daylights out of yourself as you're doing it. Yep, I know. I'm doing it too. Thank you. I see a bunch of you saying that you just listened to the interview with Fern Cotton on her Happy Place official podcast. That was an incredible conversation. Lots of content there on Amazon, on anxiety and panic. And by the way, if you're struggling with anxiety, everybody, this book is a game changer. All the tools grounded in science. It begins with the high five in the mirror, but boy, oh boy, do I unpack anxiety in this book. So we're on page 28 for those of you reading along of chapter 2. So why don't you do it? Why are you not kind to yourself, everybody? None of us have been taught. How? Did anyone ever teach you how to be kind to yourself? No. You've been taught to be nice to other people and to be polite and probably to be seen and not heard and to keep your voice down and to have good manners. You've been taught all those things. But has anybody actually taught you how to be kind to yourself? No. And based on research, being kind to yourself, being encouraging as you are trying, that is what will change your life. None of us have been taught how to be kind to ourselves. It's that simple. Our parents were hard on themselves, so in turn, they're hard on us. You may have grown up with a mom who criticized herself in the mirror, or who felt guilty for taking time to herself, or a father who didn't express his emotions and measured his self-worth based on what he earned or how he achieved success outside the home and came home frustrated every single night, yelling at everybody. If you're tough on yourself, you might want to blame the tough love you received as a child. Suck it up, pull up your big girl pants, wipe away those tears. Oh, this one makes me angry when people say, well, my father hit me too, and I turned out okay. Bullshit. Honestly, that one really makes me angry. The worst parenting excuse in the world is, well, it was done to me and I survived it, so it's okay if I do it to you. That's right. I see somebody saying, you're right, Mel. We're not taught what to do when life gets hard. Let me tell you what to do when life gets hard. You start your day with a high five. Just like when a team is down, they don't scream at each other in a huddle. They lift each other back up. That's what you need to be doing. When life is hard in particular, you got to have the high five habits in this book. You got to know how to lift yourself up when life pounds you down. That's why you need a copy of the high five habit today. If you have not read this yet, go read the reviews, everybody. The reviews are so jaw-dropping, deeply personal, deeply personal. This book will change your life because it changes you and how you treat yourself. This is the most important thing in the world I've ever talked about, the high five habit. I'm telling you, it's why I'm reading it for free. And for those of you joining, get your books out. We're on page 28. Luckily, patterns are meant to be broken. That's where we're going. We're going to finish chapter 2 in a matter of 10 minutes, everybody. I'm so happy that you finished the book. I see people saying, I'm so happy that you loved it. I see everybody rereading it. This is a book you're going to come back to. Seriously, over and over and over again. This should be required reading for every human being, because nobody has taught you how to be kind to yourself. Nobody has taught you that you deserve to be lifted up. You deserve to be celebrated. You deserve to be encouraged. I'm serious, everybody. All right. Your parents just repeated what was done to them, and nobody taught your parents how to be kind to themselves or how to lift themselves up. That's why you don't know how to do it. That's why you need the high five habit. That's why I'm here. And that's why you're so tough on yourself. You're just repeating what was done. As a kid, your brain absorbs everything around you. And that explains your unconscious drive to just constantly repeat dynamics you learned as an infant or as a child, even if you don't like those dynamics. I love Jean Scott saying, my mindset is already so different, and she hasn't even finished the book yet. I'm telling you, it's that powerful, everyone. And I love what you're saying. My mom is kind to others, but not to herself. How many of you are kind to everybody else? But you're constantly beating yourself down. You're constantly picking apart the things you want to fix. You're constantly focusing on what you didn't do. Instead of going, hey, at least I walked around the block today, you're going, oh, I didn't jog like she did. Constantly, boom, boom, boom. You have got to get the high five habit, everybody. It is a gift to yourself, and get it for your best friend. Get it for the people that you love. Because luckily, everybody, patterns are meant to be broken. You are not broken. How many of you feel like you're broken? How many of you feel like there's something about you that's broken? I'm here to tell you, you are not broken. You have patterns of behavior that are broken and that need to be replaced. It's that simple. I love that you're saying this is the best personal development book you've ever read. That's amazing. Yes, I do read the audiobook. Absolutely, I do. You are going to want to get a copy of this guy too, though. Everybody listens to the audiobook, and then I see everybody going, I got to get a copy of the book because I want it. I want to highlight it. I want to put on it. There you go. Luckily, patterns are meant to be broken. Let's break this generational cycle of being hard on ourselves, everybody. Can we do that? Not only does it feel awful to be hard on yourself, but here's more research. Chapter 2, research, people. Research shows that when you're tough on yourself, it has the opposite impact that you want it to have. It's not motivating. It does not encourage you to achieve things. It shuts you down. It makes you feel defeated and discouraged. Being hard on yourself, beating yourself up, being critical of yourself, it's the reason why you feel so stuck. To create a life of happiness and fulfillment, you have to be kinder to yourself. And that begins by practicing acts of kindness toward yourself every day. You see, Nina did the high five challenge with me, and she had a powerful breakthrough. This is what she wrote, everybody. I have been living with body dysmorphia for more than 20 years. After doing the high five habit for just 5 days, instead of hiding from my face, I'm finding myself grinning at me instead. Kathy said the high five habit is fundamentally changing how she sees herself. You see, this is what she writes. We have this pattern of seeing ourselves in the mirror and always looking at all the flaws. I notice my eyebrows are not aligned. My white hair is growing. Ugh. Why do I have a double chin now? My arms look flabby. I see so many things wrong with myself. And in the world where Zoom and video calls and Facebook Lives rule, it's not just the mirror that we have to live with. It is seeing ourselves on camera more times than we would want to. For me, Kathy writes, the habit of high-fiving myself in the mirror creates an affirmation, a physical act of celebrating myself. The act alone forces me to look at my face, my body in a different light, a brighter light, a kinder light, a more compassionate and joyful way. I found I cannot high-five myself and say bad things in the mirror. That's true. You can't high-five yourself and think something or say something bad. It's neurologically impossible because of the programming associated with a high five that's already in your mind. This is why it's so powerful. We're unlocking neural associations that are already in your mind, everybody. You see, you deserve to be celebrated as you are right now, not when you lose the weight, not when you make more money, not when you fall in love or get into graduate school. Because research shows when you learn how to love and accept yourself wherever you are right now, you will be better able to ride the ups and downs of your life. And by the way, accepting where you are right now is not about complacency, everybody. Accepting where you are and being kinder to yourself and treating yourself with a level of respect and self-worth is the secret to self-motivation. When you feel worthy, it's motivating. When you feel respected, it's inspiring. When you feel a sense of worthiness, you will feel worthy of bigger things in your life. You cannot not pound yourself into the ground and believe or feel motivated to change. It doesn't work that way based on the research. It's the opposite. This is why it's so hard. This is why you're struggling, everyone. Because you want these big things in your life and you deserve them. And you have goals and you have dreams and you have desires. But you stand in this present moment and you have all these hopes and dreams and desires for your life and for yourself. But what you do is you just punish yourself mentally. That's why you're not motivated. You have to learn how to be where you are right now, accept where you are, and know in your heart you still deserve to be treated with loving kindness and respect. And when you flip that switch in your brain, in your body, and in your spirit, you will be more motivated and inspired to walk toward the things that you deeply yearn for in life than you ever have before, because you will feel worthy of those things. It's so cool. When you beat yourself up all day long, you're pounding yourself into the ground, and you're more vulnerable to feeling like you are being buried alive when life gets stressful. Everything starts to feel like a beatdown. But when you start to look at yourself in the mirror and accept yourself as you are right now and see a person who deserves celebration and support, you're going to tap back into that natural motivation, celebration, and resilience that you were born with. Because you weren't always like this. We are on page 53 right here, everybody. This is one of my favorite parts of the book. page 53 in chapter 4, and I'm going to read it to you right now. I'm Mel Robbins, and we're reading from chapter 4, page 53 of my instant best-selling book that is changing people's lives. It's called The High Five Habit. Here we go. You ready? Everything I'm about to teach you is already in you. That's the coolest thing about the High Five Habit. We're tapping stuff that's in you. Self-love is your birthright. As a baby, you loved the very sight of yourself. You'd crawl up to a mirror and you wouldn't just high five yourself. You know what you used to do? You used to press your face against your reflection and smile and laugh and love on yourself in one wet, sloppy, open mouth kiss. And there is so much about you to celebrate. Let's start with how unique and special you are. Your DNA sequence, your fingerprints, your voice, the patterns of your iris, every one of these things is entirely unique and yours alone. How you see the world, the way you laugh, the things that you've experienced, the way that you love, it all comes down together to create something magical. You are the only you that will ever exist. Each one of your distinctive gifts and talents is a phenomenon because they are unique to you. And you need to celebrate that shit. And you know what? You are so much stronger than you give yourself credit for. Resilience is hardwired into your DNA. I mean, think about when you learned to crawl as a baby. You didn't try once and give up. You didn't lay on the floor and gaze morosely at the ceiling and say, well, I guess this is my life. It's time to throw in the towel. I'm never going to learn to crawl. I think I'll just sit here on this spot on the rug in my diapers and stare at the ceiling. No, you tried again and again because you didn't have words. So you couldn't tell yourself some sad story about how you just can't do it and you're not good enough or smart enough or strong enough. You know what you did? You kept trying. And eventually you pulled yourself across that floor. You're also naturally intelligent. You don't give yourself enough credit for this. By simply watching the people around you as a baby, you figured out how to coo and smile and crawl and scooch and eventually walk. And it didn't matter that you fell an average of 17 times an hour while you were learning to walk. You just kept trying. And that tenacity is still in you. And here's something else, everybody. Celebration is part of your DNA too. As a kid, every time you succeeded at something thrilling and new, you'd laugh and screech and raise your arms up above your head. If the music would play, you'd shake your booty and wiggle and jump around. You are perfectly designed to feel loved, resilient, joyous, and celebrated. That's why a stranger's high five feels so damn good. A high five strikes deep down to the core. It hits the you of you. And it reminds you of something you've forgotten, who you really are, and how you're meant to feel. You also tend to get a lot of positive, emotion and praise when you're achieving those things. At least I did too. And I think that's why I chased it so much. I had fused the doing with being lovable, the achieving with being worthy. And so as I walk into the bathroom that second morning and the sort of profound nature of what was unfolding started to hit me, I have this second epiphany as I'm brushing my teeth. And that is this. Every morning, there are two people in the bathroom. There's you, and there's a human being in the mirror who needs you. They are trying so hard. They are waiting for you to wake up and to realize that they're there. They need your encouragement. They need your support. They need your love. They are so tired of you picking them apart. and thinking about all the things that are going wrong. And as I put my toothbrush down, I remembered the fact that yesterday, the day before, I had been researching, how do I need to change right now? Because I have all these people on my team. How am I going to show up for my family? And I found this piece of research from Harvard that says that if you take just less than a minute of intentional reflection about how you're going to show up for the people that you're leading, and this could apply to your family, anybody, it changes your focus, your productivity, it changes your mood, it changes how you show up, your ability to impact. And for whatever reason in that moment, it all fused together. And I thought, well, what if I do that for me? And I asked myself a question I had never asked myself before. And it was this: who do you need me to be today? Like, I asked the woman in the mirror, who do you need me to be today? How can I show up for you? And, what kind of popped in my mind that morning was like, well, it'd be nice if you were kinder to me because I'm trying really hard. And then the next one was, it'd be great if you could muster up some optimism here. Having fun today. It's like, hell, throw me a lifeline, Mel. And as I thought about it, I then went and I raised my hand and I sealed it with this high five. And something like, it just felt like this fusion with the person in the mirror. And that's when I really got it. I got that this is so much deeper and more profound, because what I'm actually doing is I'm fulfilling my fundamental emotional needs. I'm seeing myself. I am meeting myself where I am. I am affirming my unique need. And I am celebrating myself exactly where I am right now, whether it's challenging, whether it's exhilarating. I am with myself right in that moment in a way that I don't know if I had ever been.
I think it's really, pivotal. And I want to reiterate this because I think it's such a great point of understanding. Back to that onion analogy again, when you said there's two people, right? And I could go as far to say that so many of us have different masks, different selves, right? The core, like we were just talking about, is who we really are. Mm-hmm. So many times in our day to day, we are showing up in all of these different ways, playing all of these different roles. And there is an us that we need to, and the journey becomes about connecting back to. So a lot of us are kind of at odds with even ourselves in so many moments because we're so practiced at showing up in all of these other ways that we've lost so much sight of the authentic core within each of us. And what you're also illustrating, I think that's so important, is the practice of that reconnection, right? And many of us start by not knowing, not seeing ourselves, not knowing what there is even to see or to self-express. For me, I share this story often. When I came to the awareness that I, like you and like many of us, filter the whole world through everyone else and what their needs may be, I had a big gaping hole of knowledge. I didn't know myself. I didn't really know that person in the mirror. I did know that we do, I believe, as humans universally, I don't care where you're signing onto this live right now around the globe, we have at our core the desire to be seen, to be heard, to be just in full self-expression, and for that to be enough. Yet I didn't know who that person was. So I share this because I do want to speak to the people who, as we begin to look in the mirror, and for a lot of us, it might just be a concept. Okay, there's an authentic self in there where I don't know where that person is. I don't know what that person needs yet. And that's when we begin the journey to explore. Because I, like many of us, didn't know at first, was profoundly uncomfortable with even beginning to ask those questions. What do I need right now? Can I just be enough in this moment? And it is the question that sets us off into the journey. And I share that because I know a lot of us, we want to know the answers, or we think we should, and then we shame ourselves out of even taking the journey into exploring those. But for me, I'll share, that's how my journey began. Not knowing at all, with incredible discomfort, even around stopping to even ask myself those questions. And of course, like you said, it does not happen overnight. I say there's no light switch here. Oh, I heal now. And again, I want to highlight the practice of it, right? Because there's concepts, there's books, There's, people and teachers and tools and techniques, and they're all in theory until, like I say, we bridge the gap from theory into action. And that's what I've always resonated so much with your work, from the 5 second, this idea of the tool. How do I practically apply this? And now, of course, the high five habit. How do I turn this idea into a daily action that can actually help me create the change that I'm looking for, to A, reconnect with that person beneath, and B, to over time, grow to love them. Over time, grow to love them.
Does your book talk about how to get to a place of self-love? Deanna Drish's, that's all that the book is about. Because when you love and respect yourself, you will feel empowered to go after anything in your life. When you love and respect yourself, you will be able to ride the lows and know that there are better days coming. When you love and respect yourself, it doesn't matter what other people think about you. Yeah, it stings when somebody doesn't invite you to a party. Yeah, it stings when somebody breaks up with you. But if you love and respect yourself, the way that somebody else treats you doesn't change how you treat you. This is so foundational. That's exactly what the high five habit is about. Why do I keep starting new plans to improve weight and lose weight when it only makes me feel punished and like I failed? Well, the reason why you feel punished and like you fail isn't because you're trying to lose weight. The reason why you feel punished and like you failed is because for years or decades, you have a habit that you don't realize. And the habit is a habit of self-rejection. This is so fundamental. I'm so happy we're talking about this. So every morning in the bathroom mirror right now, everybody, unless you're practicing the high five habit, you have a habit in place that is so ugly and destructive, and you're probably not even aware of how casual it is. Every morning when you look in the mirror, you either don't look at yourself, which if you can't even look at yourself in the mirror, that is a habit of rejecting self. If you don't look at yourself in the mirror, or you can't, that is a habit of rejecting yourself. If you're able to look at yourself, I guarantee you, unless you're practicing the high five habit in the mirror, you have a habit of focusing on what you don't like or what you think needs to be fixed. When you do that, you are rejecting yourself as you are. This habit of self-rejection every morning in the mirror is so subconscious. It is so powerful that it now becomes your default all day long. This is why you literally have something to say at work and your mind goes, you shouldn't say it. That's self-rejection. This is why you realize that you have a boundary. No, I don't want you to borrow my stuff. But you don't say it. That's self-rejection. This is why you have a commitment to get healthy, but halfway through the day, you've had a bad day, you're feeling low, and you're like, screw it. I'm not going to eat the salad. I'm having the cake. That's self-rejection because you're breaking a promise you made to yourself. And this all begins every morning with how you treat yourself in the bathroom mirror. Do you reject yourself where you are? Or are you raising your hand in acceptance, in seeing, in celebration, and in partnership? You're only going to do one or two things. You're either going to accept yourself with the high five habit, and over time you'll learn to love yourself and support yourself, or you're going to reject yourself by not looking in the mirror or looking in the mirror and picking yourself apart. It all begins here. And the good news is, based on our research, I'm certain that when you practice the high five habit and the other tools in this book, and you break the habit of self-rejection every morning in the mirror, when you step out into the world every morning, feeling and demonstrating that you accept yourself, that you cheer for yourself, that you love yourself, you then carry that belief into every interaction. It begins with you and your relationship with yourself.
I saw recently you posted on your social media that one of the biggest lessons you learned in 2021 was the importance of self-forgiveness. So like, what was something last year, as we kind of bring our conversation to a close, like what was one of the biggest things last year you had to forgive yourself for?
Oh, that's a good question. I think that I'm really, really hard on myself, and or at least I had been. And last year, in the process of writing the High Five Habit book, and in learning the skill of being kind to yourself, the hard part of learning how to be kind to yourself is that you wake up and realize how awful you've been to yourself. And I think that the biggest thing that I've had to forgive myself for is all the mistakes that I made because I didn't know any better. I did plenty of things that could have had me behind bars, whether it was shoplifting or it was stealing. Well, I guess that is stealing, right? When I was younger, I cheated in relationships when I was younger. And it's something that I deeply, deeply regret. But I also know that I didn't know any better. And I know it was driven by pain. Do I wish that it wasn't part of my story? The people pleaser in me does, because, I don't want, to admit that I did something like that. But the truth is, I'm glad it's part of my story, because it's one of the reasons why I'm so compassionate. It's one of the reasons why I understand how much people silently struggle, because I've lived it. And I also understand how hard it is to forgive yourself. And for me, forgiveness means you have stopped wishing that things were different, that you are able to accept what is and what isn't. You are able to accept what has happened and what hasn't happened. And that doesn't mean that you like it. It just means you've stopped spending time and energy wishing it could change. Because as long as you spend time and energy wishing things were different, you are trapped in the past. And so accepting it, forgiving yourself, and understanding why you did what you did, that's the only path that I've found to being able to forgive myself for the things that I used to wish I hadn't done. But now I accept, I understand, I've learned the lesson, and I know it's part of my story. Now, for those of you that just identified where you need to ask for support and where you need to be better at giving yourself support, I want you to listen to the first high five habit, which is high-fiving yourself in the mirror. Because learning how to start your day by sending yourself into the game of life by high-fiving the mirror, something I did this morning, and something that I can draw on as I am moving through my day, okay? It's important to know the basics about this. How exactly do I start doing it? Well, it has two simple, powerful steps. Number one, standing in front of the mirror, just be with yourself for a second. Don't focus on your appearance, go deeper. See the person who is inside that body, the spirit beneath the skin, and the soul beneath the face. And how often have you ever done that? Right now, you probably mindlessly brush your teeth or you pick yourself apart. I want this to be an intentional moment of reflection and of being with yourself, okay? I want this to be for you. The rest of the day is probably going to be for other people. So I want you to literally take this moment for yourself. Number two, when you feel ready, high five yourself in the mirror. Notice how your mind goes quiet. You might feel a boost of energy. You might feel a sense of comfort, almost as if by going like this to yourself, you're saying, it's going to be okay. You might think, I got this. This high five in the mirror, everybody, it's a powerful moment. Without saying a word, you're telling yourself, I love you, I see you, I believe in you. Let's go. Don't rush it, revel in it, because this moment is for you. Why do you do it first thing in the morning? Well, there are two reasons that I want you to make the high five habit a habit that you use to start your day. Number one, it will impact your productivity and how you show up all day. When you high five yourself first thing in the morning, you set a positive tone for your day. And research shows your mood in the morning impacts your productivity for the rest of the day. You may be surprised by the shift. Caroline told me that she was amazed by how weirdly motivated she felt all day after doing the high five. Or Gloria said, you may find that the high five creates an infectious energy that stays with you all day. She wrote, quote, I was cheerleader in school, so I chanted an old cheer in front of the mirror, and then I fell on the floor laughing like a crazy lady. I am 76 years old, but 76 years old young, and I feel good. Nikki said she felt it too. I just walked by the mirror and high-fived myself. I felt a little silly, and then I literally laughed out loud. I said, you go, girl, and went about my way. What a feeling, Mel. I feel unstoppable after high-fiving myself. I'm on my way, and now it feels like, who's coming too? Start your day in a positive state, and you're more likely to take action. And action is the secret. You can't think your way to a new life. You must take the steps to create it. Basically, the high five sets you in motion to take control of your life. And the second reason why I want you to do the high five habit every morning is because it teaches you to put your own needs first. That's what you're doing. From the moment you wake up, you come first. And I love this insight that Nikki shared with me. How is it that I'm able to encourage other people all day long, and yet I don't take the time to encourage myself? In fact, I just now shared this with a friend. You are enough all on your own. You are beautiful, unique, and creative. Learn to love and embrace yourself. And wouldn't you know, that is the very thing that is what I needed to hear. It made me realize I put everybody else before me, and I need to I need to start putting myself first. So instead of getting up every morning and looking at social media or emails or picking yourself apart or taking care of everyone else, just take a moment and give that same love, support, and attention to yourself. As Nikki said, it's time to go look in the mirror and give myself that pep talk and a high five for being awesome. So here's one of the top questions we get. Can anybody guess what one of the top questions we get about the high five? Seriously, this is kind of funny. Do I have to touch the mirror? I don't want to touch the mirror. There are a lot of you that are very neat freaks out there. Look, you can do this however you want to do it. It's your high five habit. You can touch the mirror. You don't have to touch it. You can raise your hand, whatever. Just give a high five, give it a low five, a high five, whatever you want, a middle five. Spread your fingers, keep them together, whatever. It doesn't matter how you do it. Just make sure you do it. Why do you high five in the bathroom? We're on page 35, everybody. The bathroom is one of the few places you're bound to be alone and face to face with yourself. If you're at the gym, at work, or at school, you'll probably feel too self-conscious to try it. Plus, you already have a routine every morning when you stand in front of that mirror, so just add your high five to your routine. Research shows that when you stack or pair a new habit, the new high five, with an old habit, brushing your teeth, you're more likely to do it. This is the scientific reason why I want you to do the high five in the morning after you brush your teeth. One mindfulness trick I love is to mentally be where my feet are. As you fix your hair, shave your beard, or apply your makeup, don't drift into autopilot. Take a moment to pause and actually be with yourself, because an intentional glance in the bathroom mirror is meaningful. It can be an intimate moment of self-recognition, appreciation, even love. It might be your one chance all day to acknowledge your own strength, beauty, and fabulousness, but rarely it is until now. Let's read to the bottom of 36, and then we're going to call it a day. How's that sound, everybody? Does it have to be in the mirror, or can I just high five my hands together in the air? Yeah, it has to be in the mirror. If you high five in the air, that's not a high five. That's an awkward clap. The mirror is required. And science explains why. You are fusing the positive neural association that your brain already has programmed in it with a high five. I believe in you. I love you. I see you. I celebrate you with your own reflection. This habit is the beginning of a beautiful new partnership with yourself. You have lost a piece of yourself in the busyness of life. I know I sure have, and you saw me crying about it this morning. This morning high five is the fastest way to become more connected to yourself, your needs, your goals, your dreams, and the greater forces around you. Why is it called the high five habit? Well, habit is just a fancy word, everybody, for pattern. Habits are easy to learn when you turn them into small, simple things you practice every day. The high five feels so good, you'll find it's an easy habit to remember and repeat. I call it a habit and not the morning high five because a habit must be repeated in order to become second nature. You are making the mistake of waiting to feel worthy of love and celebration. And I want to change that by making self-love, self-empowerment, and self-celebration a habit. For those of you asking how you can order the book, it's available wherever books are sold. Seriously, go to Amazon, go to Waterstones in the UK, just Google the high five habit, and you'll find it anywhere. Go to your local bookstore. It is out in English worldwide. 23 languages and counting are already coming. And so I want you to know that you can basically get it just about anywhere books are sold. Thank you for asking. And by the way, thank you for buying yourself a copy. Thank you for purchasing this for friends. Seriously, when you send this to a friend, it's like giving them a high five. And so it's an incredible gift that you can give to somebody. Surprise them today with a copy of this New York Times bestseller. This is the #2 selling book of the week last week on Amazon. #1 audiobook in the world right now because of your support. Please, please, please grab yourself a copy of this today. And I love it that Mickey's saying this high five habit, it works. It works. And so should you be high-fiving yourselves or loved ones? You should high-five yourself first. You're already excellent at high-fiving everybody else. I want you to learn how to high-five yourself. And when you feel the power of high-fiving yourself, then you will be able to teach other people the high-five habit so they can empower themselves too. Audible, by the way, the audiobook, yes, of course I read it. Of course I get emotional. Barnes & Noble named us, by the way, as one of the top 10 books of 2021. They just sent us out on their newsletter. We've only been out for a week and a half, and they're already saying we are one of the top 10 books of the year. So thank you, thank you, thank you, everybody. In fact, the high five habit really quickly becomes second nature. For those of you that keep forgetting to do it, here's a simple tip. Take a Post-it note, literally any Post-it note. Just take a Post-it note and put it on your mirror and write high five or draw a heart or write I believe in you on it. And have that environmental trigger on your mirror be the thing that reminds you or triggers you to do the high five, okay? And thank you for all the coaches and therapists and doctors that are writing and saying that they're recommending this book to their patients and their clients. I do believe this is an extraordinary tool, the high five habit, because for trauma, for anxiety, for self-esteem, for self-worth, for addiction, we've heard of tons of people that are able, basically we had a couple people write to us and say, I'm sober because of the high five habit. I hear people sharing it in AA meetings. So please, please, please keep buying, keep sharing the book, keep sharing what you are learning. I love that you're listening to this with your 14-year-old. I love that you guys are buying copies of this. Thank you for that. In fact, it will become second nature very quickly. Dominique wrote, I woke up in the middle of the night to let my dog out, and I was walking by a mirror. I stopped, I high-fived myself, and went back to sleep. The high five habit has already become a part of my life, even half asleep. And the more high fives you do, the more you find yourself loving the habit itself, which also means you are in love with the process of learning to love yourself again. And that's what the entire book is about: learning to love yourself and support yourself through the ups and downs of life. That's what it's about. A no is just a no. And that most successful people, the talented ones, it's people who continued to push forward despite the no's that they hear. And you're going to hear a lot of no's, a ton of no's. Do you understand? Most of us have Oprah on a vision board, or we really admire Oprah. You admire Oprah. I mean, who the hell doesn't? She's one of the most remarkable people on the planet. Do you know that when she started out her career, she was kicked out of the anchor chair at WJZ-TV in Baltimore after just a few months of landing that role? Do you know that Madonna, after dropping out of college, she took a job at Dunkin' Donuts and she was fired because she got jelly on a customer? Or how about Bill Gates and Paul Allen, the co-founders of Microsoft? Do you know that they started a company called Trafo Data? Trafo Data. Have you ever heard of it? Yeah, me neither. That's because it sucked. It was a gigantic no. But it led to something else. How about Katy Perry? Katy Perry, she sold more than 83 million singles and 6 million albums in the US alone. But it's been a long road to fame, people. Her first album was a failure, and she was dropped by Columbia Records. That's a gigantic no. Decca Records, they rejected the Beatles in 1962. I bet you they are really still regretting that if they're even in business. I mean, I could go on and on and on. Elvis Presley in 1954, he auditioned to sing at a club, and you know what he was told? That he was told he should stick to truck driving because he pretty much sucked as a singer. They told that to the king of rock and roll. And so I kind of feel like no's, whether you're getting rejected in the dating world, or you're getting rejected applying for jobs, or you're getting rejected as you talk to people about your business, or you're getting rejected by people that you are talking about your dreams with, okay? Tell me the last thing that you were rejected from. Tell me the last thing. What were you rejected from? I can tell you I did not get renewed at CNN after 4 years of working for them. That's a no, thank God, because I jumped right over to Audible Originals, and I would not be able to do a talk show if I was still under contract with CNN. Hallelujah. And so one of the things I want you to understand is that you have to reframe the no's that you've gotten. Every man or woman that has said no to you, that has rejected you, thank God, because that's not who you're supposed to be with. And if you're honest with yourself, when you look back at who you were in that relationship, you probably weren't the real you. And if you were the real you, the person said no because they're not a match for you. Terrific. You have to expect a no, because the right people are looking for you. The right people want to partner with you. The right people want to help you on your path to making your dreams come true. And so reframing no's and understanding that if you want to be successful, you're going to have to rack up a ton of no's. Not one, not two, not three, not four, not five. I would expect at least 23 no's in a row. That's what I would expect. And I think that expecting no's and knowing that you got to go for them, you got to rack up like 23 in a row before you find the treasure. It's life's way of testing you. It's life's way of seeing if you deserve it, if you want it enough, if you're willing to work for it, if you're willing to be yourself, even when you are being told over and over and over again that who you are is not a fit for this person or this company or this particular prospect. That's okay. Because every time that you're willing to show up and be yourself and still face the no, your confidence gets stronger, your intuition gets stronger, your courage gets stronger, and you earn karma. You earn the hard-won victories and the hard-won potential and the hard-won good credit because you're trying and you're showing up. Hey, it's Mel. Thank you so much for checking this video out. And if you like this one, I have a feeling you're going to like this one too. I'll see you there.